The UK is currently one of the world's largest economies and played a significant role in ushering in the modern age through the Industrial Revolution. However, the economic challenges we are about to discuss are particularly difficult to acknowledge, given the diminishing influence of the UK economy. This decline is accompanied by social, political, and financial issues that could have been avoided. Today we'll be delving into the UK's economy and learn how it seems to be in serious trouble despite being one of the world's high-income countries. When an economy is thriving, it's easy to maintain its success. A strong currency, high investor interest, easy borrowing at low rates, and long-term economic planning are indicators of a prosperous economy. However, when an economy stagnates or declines, its currency loses appeal, borrowing becomes challenging, and investments decline. In the current situation of the UK, it's evident that the country's global influence has waned, and its economy is increasingly concentrated in less beneficial industries for the average citizen. Despite being a pioneer in the Industrial Revolution, the UK now faces significant issues like poverty and regional inequality. The critical concern is that the economic situation, underreported as it may be, is creating a two-speed economy with wealth concentrated in London and decline elsewhere. If policymakers don't act to reverse this trend, the disparity may persist, benefiting those in global industries in London at the expense of the rest of the country. This scenario serves as an intriguing case study in defining economic success in the modern era. So why is the UK suddenly lagging behind despite centuries of being a dominant force? Has London's growth negatively impacted the rest of the country? Lastly, can these issues be reversed now that they've become entrenched? Managing a country's economy and handling personal finances are quite different. A nation can accumulate substantial debt to invest in public services, and if it leads to overall economic growth, it's considered a positive investment. Unlike the economies of Italy and Greece, both have been facing stagnation since the mid-2000s. It's crucial to emphasize that the UK situation, while not as dire as these countries, presents distinct challenges that, though potentially less severe, are more complex to address. The primary issue revolves around a confidence crisis, a factor we always consider in our analysis of national economies. Confidence is crucial for any economy, and once lost, it can have tangible and damaging effects. While the UK has experienced a gradual decline from its peak as a global colonial power, its present economic challenges arguably trace back to September 16, 1992, known as Black Wednesday. Before this event, the UK faced issues, but was still regarded as one of the world's stable and dependable economies for trade, finance, and investment. The pound held the position of the world's second most used global currency, and it was renowned for its stability, a sentiment that may sound outdated today. 2 years prior to the significant event, the UK engaged in an arrangement called the Exchange Rate Mechanism, or ERM, which served as an early model for the euro. This agreement connected major European currencies, establishing a predetermined exchange rate range. If a country's exchange rate with another member exceeds set limits, the central bank of both countries had to intervene to bring it back within the agreed range. While theoretically sensible, this process was costly, requiring the central banks to hold reserves of each other's currency to facilitate necessary buying or selling and maintain their own currency within the agreed range. The concept aimed to make cross-border business transactions and investments easier by mitigating exchange rate risks. For instance, if a French company invested in an Italian business and it doubled in value, the risk arose if the Italian lira depreciated. The exchange rate mechanism theoretically prevented such scenarios, providing a significant boost to cross-border interactions among major European economies. Interestingly, the UK initially refrained from joining this scheme introduced by the European Economic Community in 1979, the precursor to the European Union. It took 11 years for the UK to join due to internal politics tension, weighing the benefits and risks of indirectly pegging their more dominant global currency to the rest of Europe. Unfortunately, the timing of joining the ERM in 1990 coincided with the collapse of the Soviet Union and the reunification of East and West Germany. Seemingly unrelated events, but warrant further explanation. The eastern part, previously a satellite state of the USSR, was significantly less economically developed than the western part. The newly unified Germany faced the challenge of lifting millions of people out of extreme poverty, modernizing outdated industries, and expanding infrastructure without harming the prosperous Western economy. The UK had a vested interest in this because Germany opted for an unconventional approach to attract foreign investors. Instead of lowering interest rates to stimulate the economy, Germany raised them, aiming to entice investors to put money into Germany for a good return. Germany planned to use this investment to boost the eastern part's development. The unusual strategy deviated from the typical approach of lowering interest rates to encourage borrowing and economic activity. Germany's choice to raise interest rates was driven by concerns about potential inflation resulting from the economic shock of integrating the East, recalling the severe hyperinflation experienced in the period between the two world wars, a memory still vivid 60 years later. Germany's high interest rates successfully attracted global investors seeking to keep their money in Deutschmarks for the substantially higher interest rates offered. This included investors from the UK, where the interest rates were comparatively lower. As the currencies were tied through the ERM, theoretically, there was no risk in saving money in Germany. Consequently, the British pound's value wanted to decrease, while the Deutschmark's value wanted to rise. However, the British central bank, bound by ERM rules, couldn't allow this natural shift. To maintain the pound's value artificially high, the UK had to sell substantial reserves of foreign currencies and raise interest rates. Unfortunately, this occurred at a time when the UK economy was not performing well and would have likely benefited from lower interest rates. To exacerbate the situation, many investors suspected that even a powerful institution like the Bank of England couldn't indefinitely resist market forces. They believed that eventually, currency values would return to their natural levels dictated by supply and demand. Consequently, investors converted more of their money into German Deutschmarks, anticipating not only higher interest rates but also potential profits if the ERM failed and currencies equalized at their natural levels. Ultimately, this effort failed, but not before the Bank of England made increasingly desperate attempts to uphold its commitment to maintaining a stable foreign exchange rate. On the day of the collapse, the bank raised interest rates dramatically from 10% to 15%, before conceding defeat and lowering them back to 12%, all within a single day. While the UK and the rest of Europe suffered short-term consequences, the long-term damage was more profound. Doubts emerged about the effective management of the United Kingdom. Subsequently, the country experienced severe economic setbacks during the global financial crisis, GFC, and became collateral damage in the Eurozone crisis. It also went an uncertain breakup with the EU and is now primarily known for a frequent change of prime ministers. This situation has created uncertainty about the UK's future, making it risky for investments, trade deals, and any engagements with the country, as it lacks the consistency it was once renowned for. It's important to note that the UK, while more stable than countries like Somalia, is relative in its stability. The country has developed a significant dependence on the financial industry, particularly benefiting the City of London, where the majority of financial activities occur. However, this focus is not translated into substantial benefits for the rest of the nation. Unlike financial centers like New York, where money often supports domestic enterprises, a significant portion of the funds flowing into London goes into obscure financial investments worldwide. This trend has made London the second largest financial center globally. Yet the type of finance conducted there in many ways, harms rather than benefits the rest of the country. The British pound has experienced a gradual and steady decline against other global currencies over the past century. Nevertheless, it is argued to be overvalued, primarily due to its extensive use by the financial industry in London. This situation has also negatively impacted domestic British industries, making it challenging to compete with EU counterparts that enjoy more favorable trade deals post-Brexit, as well as other emerging global competitors. Furthermore, the UK, once a global leader in industrialization, now grapples with aging infrastructure, diminishing education standards, and a limited embrace of technology. This situation has resulted in decreased productivity, reduced global competitiveness, and consequently, lower compensation for its workers. High-skilled workers in the UK find they can earn significantly more in places like the USA, Canada, Australia, and even Asian financial hubs such as Singapore, Hong Kong, and Shanghai. This dynamic has created a peculiar scenario where the UK attracts many people from less developed economies seeking a better life and improved opportunities, while an equally substantial number of individuals leave the country in pursuit of even greater opportunities elsewhere. The overall impact of this influx and outflow is evident. Although the UK currently gains more people than it loses, it has been steadily losing a significant number of highly skilled workers each year since 2007. If this trend persists, the UK may face a declining population, losing its most productive workforce. This negative trend has, in turn, made the UK less appealing for investments, starting businesses, or pursuing careers. In high-income countries like the UK, a typical defense against economic challenges is the ability of wealthy citizens to compensate for the lack of foreign investment and address issues such as national debt. Japan, despite having the world's highest debt-to-GDP ratio, doesn't raise much concern among economists because most of its debt is held at very low interest rates by its own citizens. Similarly, the UK possesses affluent residents who could potentially invest in the economy. However, like foreign investors, these individuals are opting to invest their funds in other countries with a more predictable future. The disparity between the outflow and inflow of foreign direct investment in the UK is currently at its highest level since the global financial crisis. While this might sound theoretical, it has tangible effects in the UK, contributing to challenges like regional poverty, where an increasing number of people struggle to afford living in their own country. Unfortunately, if these issues persist, they are likely to exacerbate each other, reminiscent of the challenges faced in 1992, with desperate attempts to salvage the deteriorating situation. And that concludes our video today. I hope it was enlightening and educational. I'd be more than happy to read your thoughts and opinions in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.